Hello. I'll be talking today about what I learned for the major project that was due for American government. What did I learn from this project? I think there were several key takeaways that were enlightening and interesting for me. The first was that no matter the news source, no matter the media source, no matter what type of media you look at, I think every media outlet has a bias of some sort. For my essay, I chose two articles, one from the Associated Press and one from the Daily Wire, both dealing with the death of the Hezbollah leader in Lebanon after an Israeli airstrike. And I was struck at the political bias, first of all, by both outlets, with the Associated Press taking a more liberal stance and being very sympathetic to the people of Lebanon and the people of Hezbollah, as is common with many on the liberal side of the aisle, and then the Daily Wire taking a more conservative stance and being very pro Israel, very pro destruction of Hezbollah, and you see those themes quite common in the conservative side of the aisle. I think as well the media bias was apparent on both sides. I noted that the Associated Press was guilty of spin bias. You'll see there at the end that I noted the fact that the final sentence of the article is fear mongering, in my opinion, whereas the Daily Wire is guilty of elite versus populist bias. But I don't think that the bias in this case was a bad thing, as the elite that they were going to, the head of the IDF, is an authoritative source on the Israeli Palestine conflict. He's been there, he's been in the Middle East, he knows the conflict well, so I think that bias was warranted. But I think at the end of the day, the fact remains that both sites, both sources, have a form of bias. And I think that's prevalent throughout the media. And it became even more apparent when I looked at the Gallup poll and cited the Gallup poll that says now 39% of Americans do not have a trust in the media. And I think that goes to show that bias is really impacting people, and it's impacting the media as well in a negative way. And I think bias is very much responsible for what is being called the death of the legacy media on the left, and others on the right not even being trusted because of their own bias. And I think that bias overall, especially in political and cultural atmospheres, is very prevalent, and it's very damaging. And it's become so hard to actually get down to the facts these days because of how polarized our society and our culture is. Everything's divided into groups: political, cultural, religious, moral, what have you. Everything is polarized, and everyone has their own biases. And it's hard sometimes to get down to the facts, but I think also bias is a it's a preeminent condition of the human psyche and of the human form, and I think every human has their own biases. So I think more than anything, the bias in the media is just an overfill or a carryover of bias on the part of just individuals, and the fact that we all have our biases. I think this project was enlightening. I think it was good to see how individual groups think on the same topic and compare, articles relating to the same event, but they're saying completely different things in some aspects. And so I think that that was good to do. I think it was a good project, and I really learned a lot from this project and from this essay. Thank you.